The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at WrestlingWithJohners.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back and better than ever with episode 23 of Shootin' Shit. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can obviously tell. If you're listening to us on Apple, Spotify, Google, or wherever you get your podcast from, you may notice that we are one man down, and with a good reason. Even though the premier Joey K is from Philadelphia and claims he's an Eagles fan, I have it on good authority that he is the biggest fan of the Cleveland football team. And he is so adamant about the Cleveland Browns that the reason why he is not here this week is because he is busy working his ass off to get the Cleveland Browns to the Super Bowl. And we are just going to leave it at that. And that, so, but you know what? We're gonna hold down the fort for Joey K. We're gonna do him proud and stuff. Yeah, as you can see, I'm joined by my man, the hot one, Giovanni Too Hottie. What do you say, Hottie? Let's get this ball rolling. Let's start the show.
Let's do it.
I just gotta have a reason to play the beep every once in a while. So,
what is wrong with you, dude?
I start piling on the investment money.
alrighty then. So while that intro was playing, I kind of thought to myself, there may be some of our listeners out there who maybe don't quite get what I meant about the Cleveland Browns and the Super Bowl thing. So for those of you who get the joke, more power to you. But for those of you that don't, just going to come right out and make it as clear as possible. Joey K he couldn't make it tonight. What did you say, Jovan?
You guys know, and for all of our shooting faithful here, Joey K always struggles with not taking a 2 on screen. Well, tonight he lost the battle, and right before, during prep time, he had to go and take care of number 2. So number 2 came number 1 tonight, so we're missing our Joey K.
We love you, Joey K. Take your time. Take your time. Just leave it at that. Take your time.
Take your time handling that shit.
Yeah. We ain't even a minute into this show and we've already lost control. Oh man, it's gonna be a fun one tonight. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, as you noticed, I know by now it's just the two of us. I am DDJ, the 5-star trivia machine, and I am joined by my partner in crime, the hot one, Mr. Giovanni Too Hottie. Jovan, how you doing?
Man, it is a beautiful cold night here in Texas.
Okay, hold on a second. Define a cold night in Texas.
It's 32 degrees out here. My nipples are hard. My feet are cold. I just need the heat to come back. This is ridiculous.
32 degrees and God, I hate you right now.
Why, is it cold up there?
Yes, it's been. Dude, where have you been? It's been cold for like the last week and a half.
Hey, we got snow for like the second time in 10 years.
I fucking hate you right now. Oh, man. No. Well, we all know what happens when it snows down there. It turns into pure chaos.
Oh, God. There was so much hoarding there and of stupid stuff. You go to Walmart, and this is a side note, guys. I'm sorry, but just why is toilet paper... bottled waters, and not even all the bottled waters. They didn't want the cheap bottled waters. The good bottled waters was missing. The Walmart brand was still there. Toilet paper, everything but 1-ply was still there, was gone. And then for some weird reason, all the meats were gone, but none of the seasonings. So people are having real bland ass meats with no seasoning.
Man, I'll tell you what. I don't care if it's Fiji, Smart Water, Tap Water, Walmart brand, Dasani, whatever. I want some water, a bottle of water. I don't care. I ain't picky. I'll take whatever. And as for the toilet paper, I'm gonna admit I like the way the 2-ply and the soft, TP feels on me. But at the same time, you know what? If I gotta go and all that's there is single ply, you damn well better believe I'm gonna get me some of that.
It got so bad last year with the TP shortages. People were looking at alternate issues like, hey, we have aluminum foil for days. We've got, random stuff for days. Might as well just try it out. You never know.
Yeah, no, I will never use aluminum foil. That hurts just thinking about it.
Some more potty talk in memory of Joey K.
Just hey, remember Joey K, 2 words for you: courtesy flush.
Oh God, please. I've been fortunate not to have to go after Joey K, so I don't know how bad it is, but I've heard stories.
Yeah, I've not heard those stories, nor do I care to hear those stories, and I hope I never have to go after Joey K.
That's the best. That's the best thing to say.
Yeah. So anyways, let's get to talking some wrestling, and we're recording this. It's Monday, February 7th, 2022. So this will be Monday Night Raw just finished up. A little bit more of a road to Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania was painted for us, and I was going to tell you right now, the thing I enjoyed most about Raw this week, and this is something that's really I've been a huge fan of, probably my favorite thing of Monday Night Raw the last few months, and that is the antics of one RK Bro. When this team was first brought together, I really didn't know what to think, but I will be damned if they have not sold me, and I'm completely buying in on everything they are doing. I said this before, and I'm going to say it again right now. RK Bro is this generation's Rock and Sock Connection.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, because when you think about it, you compare the two teams. You got 2 teams here where the teammates couldn't be any more opposite than they are. You had The Rock, who was, the well-dressed, good-looking, guy. And you had Mick Foley, who basically wrestled in a white button-down T-shirt, button-down shirt with a T-shirt underneath, sweatpants, sneakers, whatever. If I ever became a professional wrestler, my ring gear would probably most closely resemble Mankind.
It looks comfortable.
Yeah, and that's it. Comfort is key. Just ask Joey K. I'm sure he's making himself quite comfortable sitting on the toilet right now.
No attire necessary. I guarantee you he's buck naked right now. Ring name for Joey K.
Oh God, no. Why did you have to say that? Now I got this image in my head.
Pacific Island Playboy on the toilet. That's our next shirt coming up soon.
Yeah. Guys, if any of you listening to this, if you just had that same image pop up in your head like it did with me, I'm sorry.
We're sorry.
Yeah. But anyways, going back to Raw, man, RK Bro has just been killing it with just they work very well in the ring together, but I think they are just as entertaining, if not more entertaining, out of the ring. And the last few weeks with their interactions with the Raw Tag Team Champions, the Alpha Academy, have really shown just how I'm just gonna say goddamn funny these guys are. Yeah. I mean, you had the spelling bee a couple weeks ago, then you had the big scooter race last week, and then you had the quiz bowl, which was just gold. I loved it. It just if anybody that's out there that's ever seen the movie Billy Madison, first off, classic movie, one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies. Probably yes. I put that behind Happy Gilmore as my favorite.
Hey, also a wrestling movie, if you kind of think about it. Billy Madison.
Wrestling movie. How's Billy Madison a wrestling movie?
The Blob.
Oh yes, the revolting blob. Very good. But I mean, it made me think. The Quiz Bowl made me think of that scene at the end of Billy Madison, and it's just it was great. All four of those guys just killed it. I mean, right now, Chad Gable is just killing it. He is just knocking it out of the park. He's just playing that really snobby, know-it-all guy that thinks he's better because he knows everything, and the 4.0 and getting his master's degree, which shoot, I'm gonna shoot right here. Congratulations, because that's a hell of an accomplishment to get a master's degree and graduate with the 4.0 GPA. So shout out to Chad Gable there, but he's just killing it. And I'm gonna be honest with you, when they broke up Otis and Tucker. Heavy Machinery, I thought, okay, that they did the stuff with Otis going in, with Mandy, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe they're gonna make something of him. And then for just some ungodly reason, they decided to just drop all of that. And and then I was thinking, okay, Otis is done. But he's really, I think, enjoying a career renaissance with Chad Gable right now, much like the same thing. Gable's
having the renaissance too.
He's having the run of his career right now.
Yeah, and it's overdue for Gable, man. The man has always had great ability. Then he got stuck with the Shorty G, which to me made no sense, because when Gable and Jordan were together, Gable was the workhorse of that tag team, man.
Yes, he was.
And yeah, Jordan had some of the power moves, but Gable made it look good. And when they made him Shorty G, I was like, oh, they're disrespecting this dude. How are they going to do that to him? But now putting him with Otis, which on paper shouldn't work. You look at these two, they're polar opposites. Shorty G is a short, pretty stout guy. Otis is fairly tall, pretty big dude. On paper, you don't think this would work, but oh man, they've done something just amazing that it works for me. And I think you hit it on the head with these two, and just playing that perfect role right now that they need to. I was real upset when they took the titles off of RK Bro, because I felt like they still had a lot of life in them, and I kind of felt like it was coming to Splitsville when they took the belts off of them, but having them now kind of show that comedic side. Randy Orton is showing a side of him that I've never seen. This is amazing. It's just good, man. It's a very rare win that I don't even think creative saw coming.
Right. And one thing too, and I don't know if you remember seeing, there was something that came out like right after Alpha Academy beat RK Bro for the tag titles that really kind of talked about just how far back Otis and Chad Gable go. And it talks about going back to when they were in the Olympics, I want to say back in 2012, I believe, and stuff. And I guess they trained together, and they remained close to that, and obviously, when they went to NXT and stuff. It's out there somewhere, but I remember reading it, and it's just I didn't realize that they had this kind of their backstory, like they were as close as they were. So that kind of even gave me a further appreciation for what these guys have done. But yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. A lot of people out there probably didn't think that Alpha Academy was going to work, but it's, what? Sometimes the best things that we've seen come out of the WWE are the ones that we didn't expect.
Yep.
And that, so some other things that kind of were of note. WWE announced that there's going to be not one but two Elimination Chamber matches at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view in Saudi, and this one's a little bit of a shocker considering the fact that this event is being held in Saudi Arabia. But we are going to see an Elimination Chamber match featuring 6 of the women from the Raw Women's Division. 5 spots have been announced. It's Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Nikki ASH, Liv Morgan, and Doudrop. And then there's one more mystery person to be announced. It'll be interesting to see who that ends up being. I'm gonna admit I'm very shocked. I mean, I love it because it shows that that we're making progress in the world, and kind of getting everybody, kind of up to speed, and just the way the things are going with mankind, not Mick Foley, but mankind. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna do Sacco, but you said not mankind, so I had to put it away.
Oh, okay. You were raising your hand there. I didn't know if you were if you were raising your hand if you were because you were sure, or a little bit of a throwback there to an old advertising jingle. But I mean we knew we were getting the Raw Women's title match with is that a Sacco in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
I'm just happy to see you.
We're getting Becky Lynch defending the Raw Women's Championship against WWE Hall of Famer Lita, and they had a little bit of an altercation on Raw tonight that saw Lita get the upper hand. But yeah, I mean, in all honesty, are you shocked that they're doing more than one women's match at this show, let alone one of them being an Elimination Chamber match?
Yeah, man, it's mind blowing the leaps and bounds that we've come. I remember the first Saudi show, the two wrestlers that had the first ever women's match there were dressed head to toe, no original gear. They had like the shirts on with Raw and SmackDown on it, I think, and fully covered. They were fully covered except for like their heads and stuff.
Right.
And then now to see the progression of we're not getting just one, we're getting two, and then the other one is a 6-woman match. It goes to show that the Saudi people, they said it the last time that they were there, they're trying to become more progressive, which is good. Little change is not going to hurt anybody, but the fact that they're okay with 2 matches, it speaks leaps and bounds for them. Hopefully we'll see the crowd be a little bit more lady heavy than last time. Last time I think there was only a few. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it should be interesting. Just a couple other things to talk about, and then we're going to move on to some other stuff. We had a first-time match on Raw with Riddle going up against Seth freaking Rollins, 2 of the men who are going to be in the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match. We have their first ever one-on-one meeting. It ended when Kevin Owens got involved, and then Randy Orton got involved, and of course, what do we do? What does WWE do during the commercial break? They make a tag team match. So Raw's main event this week was RK Bro against Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, and nothing really special to write home about and stuff. Admit it's a bit shocking to see RK Bro take the loss after coming out on top on the Quiz Bowl to earn a future tag team title shot. Maybe it's an indication that we're going to see Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens enter the tag team, title picture, unless Rollins pulls off a miracle, and wins the Elimination Chamber match. Who knows, but anything else you want to touch on with Raw?
I'm good on Raw, man. There's not after the whole RK Bro and Alpha Academy, there's nothing really else that caught my fancy.
Yeah, so let's move on. So Bryan Danielson has been putting on nothing but classic after classic since he's arrived in AEW, and recently he finally took his first loss against Hangman Adam Page in just a stellar sequel to their amazing 60-minute epic encounter. But Bryan Danielson is in the news for another reason, and this is a reason that I think most wrestling fans, us two here, plus the majority of wrestling fans who have followed Danielson for his entire career. It was announced that Bryan Danielson will be going into the Ring of Honor Hall of Fame, joining the already announced Briscoe brothers. I mean, this is something new that Ring of Honor just recently, announced. And I mean, when you're talking a Ring of Honor Hall of Fame, I mean, can you really get any bigger and better than your first 2 announcements being the Briscoe brothers and Bryan Danielson?
No, man. We had our ROH powwow not too long ago. We're talking about people that we considered pillars of the whole company, and to hear them say, "Hey, we're opening up a Hall of Fame And then they go initially to the person that we said, these people, these two guys are ROH. They bleed ROH, and that's the Briscoes. Then we said Danielson. We named our 4 pillars, and with them doing this, I mean, it's kind of validation to not only the fans, but to the greatness that was ROH at a certain point of time. They had a murderer's row of wrestling talent. And for them to finally, start acknowledging some of the people who've walked through the company, changed the company, shaped it to where it's at today, man, it's pretty impressive.
And when you talk about the murderer's row of talent that they had back then, I mean, the majority of that murderer's row, you're seeing, either Monday nights on Raw, you're seeing some of the talent now on Thursday nights on Impact. You're seeing Wednesday nights on Dynamite or Friday nights on Rampage, and you're seeing it Friday nights on SmackDown. I mean, I think I said this when we were talking about Ring of Honor a few weeks ago when the news of them going on hiatus and broke. As long as you see guys like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Bryan Danielson, Seth freaking Rollins, the Briscoes, Mike Bennett, just all these guys who made their name in Ring of Honor, like killing it elsewhere. The memory and the legacy of Ring of Honor will last. And I mean, it's just a true, it's so awesome to see that the, Ring of Honor still being around in some way, shape, or form, and them kind of doing something to honor, like we talked about their past, the pillars, just the legacy of Ring of Honor by doing that. But question for you: who do you feel should be a part of this inaugural class? Who else? Obviously, we have Danielson and the Briscoes, who neither one of us, I think, object to, and I'm sure if Joey K weren't too busy shitting himself and joining us, he would probably say the same thing. I think he would be all on board because Joey K, for those of you who don't know, is our Ring of Honor super fan here on this show. Who do you feel like should be in this initial class as well?
So for me, there's 2 guys that kind of stick out just like a sore thumb. And well, one of them is contracted to the WWE, so he's not an option. The other is no longer contracted by the WWE. He might be an option. I would like him to maybe be one of the last options that they put in if they're doing maybe like 4 people, 5 people. But the next induction to me has to be somebody right now that I think outside of Ring of Honor never really got his due. And this wrestler, man, I was a big time fan of him. I think he went to the land of sports entertainers and it kind of killed his stock. But he had a career revival in Impact. He's been killing it on the indies. I want to see the Ring of Honor Hall of Fame acknowledge their first ever heavyweight champion, Loki.
Okay.
Loki.
Very good, very good. For me, that's a great pick. But to me, and we talked about, who the face of Ring of Honor is and the franchise and everything. And to me, you can't have an inaugural class of Ring of Honor Hall of Fame without putting Jay Lethal in there. I think Jay Lethal is. It would be a crime if he's not part of this inaugural class. I mean, and obviously, there wouldn't be any issues because we all know Tony Khan, the keeper of the Forbidden Door, which we're going to talk about a little bit later because he's the Forbidden Portal door, whatever you want to call it. And Tony Khan has been in the wrestling news lately. And but going back to this Ring of Honor thing, Tony Khan was gracious enough to allow Jay Lethal to step in for Bandito at Final Battle when Bandito contracted COVID, and obviously you were there live to be able to see Gresham versus Lethal. I watched it on online. I know I saw their initial bout at on the 500th episode of Ring of Honor TV when Gresham defended the pure title against Lethal. But yeah, to me, you can't have a Ring of Honor Hall of Fame if Jay Lethal's not a part of it.
I 110% agree. Also, let's give a wild pick out there too. The WWE, and I just want to clarify because I stated him. The WWE guy that I'm thinking that would make a great Hall of Famer eventually if he ever leaves the WWE. Because honestly, I don't see WWE letting Ring of Honor acknowledge their wrestlers while they're still contracted to them. So Kevin Steen, unfortunately, probably won't be in the Hall of Fame. But Samoa Joe, man, he's got to be in there too.
That's a good one. And just like for me, one other person that I would probably throw in there, and I mean, like you said, Samoa Joe's a good one. But again, you go back to the early days of Ring of Honor, and you talk about all the great men that they had, hold the championship back in the day. But to me, you can't. Someone who should be a part of this inaugural class as well too is someone who really got his first mainstream exposure in Ring of Honor, and he believed even before that he was involved in the early days of TNA back when it was NWA TNA. I know he had a really great feud, I believe, with Raven in Ring of Honor. And he also had the memorable summer in, I think it was, 2005?
The 05.
And obviously, and by now I think everybody that's, listening to this has probably figured out who I'm going towards. So, yeah, let's just come out and say I think CM Punk is someone who should be a part of this inaugural class as well, too, because he was one of the pillars of the early days of Ring of Honor. And, I mean, Ring of Honor may not be where it is if it wasn't for this guy. And obviously, we know what CM Punk would go on to do after he would leave Ring of Honor. Had what I would say a very good career in the WWE. Probably not as good as it could have been if it wasn't for politics. But he's obviously back back wrestling again with AEW, and we're going to talk about his most recent match here in a little bit. But I mean, yeah, CM Punk should be part of this Hall of Fame as well too.
So while we're on the story of Punk and AEW and the Hall of Fame for Ring of Honor, do you think they induct the Bullet Club? And I'm talking Cody, the Bucks, Hangman Adam Page, the ROH Bullet Club. Because technically they did a lot for Ring of Honor in those last.
They did, but I think I could see them maybe if they do another class, like maybe next year or something, I could see them doing it. But I feel like this first class should be, like you mentioned, you talk about the Briscoes, who basically have been there since day one. It's more or less the guys that I think have kind of were, big names, I think, became big names in Ring of Honor. Like I said, laid that foundation or held up the foundation and stuff. Does the Bullet Club, like you mentioned, Cody, Kenny, and the Bucks and Hangman? Absolutely. But I feel like I wouldn't object if they were part of this inaugural class, but at the same time, I don't think I wouldn't be mad if they weren't.
All right.
And that's so. But okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to what we saw this past week in AEW, and we had a couple. AEW as always, when they have their big time matches, they don't hold anything back. They give us pay-per-view quality matches on free TV, and it's something that we've seen. It's become quite the common theme. I mean, basically, kind of going back to the first few episodes of Dynamite. I mean, we've been getting it. I mean, we've seen blood and guts. We've had cage matches. We've had ladder matches. We've had just all different kinds. We've had lights out matches where it's lights out unsanctioned matches.
Bryan and Suzuki for free.
Yep, we've gotten to see Moxley versus Suzuki. We've gotten to see Danielson versus Omega. We've gotten to see Danielson versus Page twice. We got to see Omega and Moxley when Omega shocked the world and won the AEW championship with the help of Don Callis. That kind of was the opening of the Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
But this past week, AEW Dynamite was in Chicago, and which is not too far from where I live, and I was lucky enough to be able to be in live in attendance for that. Shout out to my boy Adam for hooking me up with the ticket and stuff. So, but we got a pay-per-view quality match with that main event with CM Punk going up against MJF. And I mean, the promos leading up to the in-ring, the out of the ring, everything that these two did really had everybody buying in. And I'm going to come out and say it. That Punk MJF match, was about as traditional or old school a wrestling match as you could get. I mean,
yeah,
and stuff. And to me, I really think that was what whenever we see matches every once in a while that people kind of pin as the, a love letter to or an ode to professional wrestling. And to me, nothing exemplifies that phrase more than what we saw this past week. What'd you think of that match?
No, you said it. It was the ode to pro wrestling, the 2022 love letter right before Valentine's Day. You have MJF, who already works a real traditional style base. I mean, MJF honestly feels like a man out of time. He would have killed it and made so much money on the territories. It's not even funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then we didn't get CM Punk from 2022. We got CM Punk, who was doing things that he hasn't done in years.
Yeah.
And it was just a beautiful thing to see, what looked like prime Punk going against, I don't even want to say prime MJF because I don't think he's there yet, but a very game, a very sound. You can tell that he's a student of the craft in MJF. And they put on a story. They put on a hell of a story in the ring that may have overdone some of the damn promos they had, and their promos were killer.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, I'm sitting there, in the show, and when MJF's music hit and he came on his tights, I looked at the clock because if you've been to an AEW show, kind of over by where they have the hard camera, they have like a clock, and I think that's more or less so they know like what time it is, so for like breaks and everything. And when I saw the clock, it was like about 8:15, like a little after 8:15 or something like that. And I go to my friend Adam, I'm like, are they really going to give him like 40 plus minutes? Because I wasn't expecting it. I think in the predictions league that Jovan's kind of not a part of as of right now, but that I'm in. It's called AFW. If you guys are looking for a really fun, group of guys to kind of come in and, predict what's going to happen on AEW Dynamite and Rampage, look them up on Facebook or if you want to get in contact with them, you can reach out to either one of us and we can get you set up with the men who run that. But one of the things that was a tiebreaker for the last week's show was how long Punk and MJF was going to go, and I think I had them just going about 20 minutes or so. So when the clock when MJF came out and it was like about a little after 8:15, I'm thinking, I was shocked because I wasn't expecting them to get that much TV time, but they made the most of it. I mean, we had that one really good old school false finish where everybody thought that MJF had put Punk to sleep, but in typical stupid heel fashion, when his hand got raised, the belt fell out and the match restarted and stuff. But man, I don't want to say it's the best match I've seen live because right now, like I said, and this is something you and I have talked about on the show before, that to me, that honor still belongs to that cage match at All Out with the Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers. But man, I'll tell you what, this Punk MJF match is in the top 5 of the matches that I've seen live.
Dang, that's a hell of an honor.
Yeah.
It was a hell of a match.
It was a hell of a match. And I mean, like you said, you go back to say, we didn't see 2022 Punk, we saw 2005, Punk. And for someone who's been out of the ring for the better part of 7 years and who's only really come back to a full-time schedule back in beginning of September with his debut at All Out, Punk's been killing it. I gotta admit, I'm impressed. I mean, I think this was probably his best match since he's been back. This is easily MJF's best match since he's been a part of AEW. And stuff, and it's just.
And the thing is, it was given to us for free. This was on network television. We got to see Punk finally put it all together. He looked like CM Punk again, and that was great. Yeah,
we saw a Pepsi. I saw my first Pepsi plunge.
He took the Pepsi challenge.
He did. But I mean, it was beautiful, and that, and I kid you not, that when the bell rang and MJF was the winner as a result of using the Dynamite Diamond ring, which, there are people out there who sit there and complain, and and here's a regular feature on our show, us talking about the internet wrestling community and how they like to complain and how usually they're wrong. This isn't going to be the do better segment, because I've got a really good do better I want to talk about later, and stuff. But I mean, MJF is the traditional heel who cheats to win. Heels, for as long as I've been a wrestling fan, heels don't win cleanly. Heels use underhanded tactics. They use chairs. They use outside interference. They use rings. They use everything in their power to get the win. And people out there that are sitting there complaining that MJF never wins legit, well, no shit, Sherlock. He's a heel. That's how it's supposed to be.
He's working you marks.
Yes.
He's working you marks.
And you know what? I'm going to take your little Mark comment a little step further, and another ode to our man Joey K. He's working you skid marks.
That's nasty. Damn. But you bring up a great point. It's like some of the IWC has never seen a classic heel work. Ric Flair is not the 16-time world champion because he's the greatest. It's because he's the dirtiest player in the game. Eddie Guerrero wasn't great because he was the more technical sound person in the ring. No, he lied, he cheated, and he stealed. That's how we all loved it.
He stealed?
I couldn't lie, cheat, and steal. But he stole, but it doesn't sound right. It's lie, cheat, and steal. And everybody loved it. But now you get a guy who can get you hot like Piper on the mic, but he's using nature's tactics of being dirty to get wins. This, in essence, is your prototype heel. Where John Cena was your prototype face, this is the guy that pushes kids to eat their vitamins.
Wait. John Cena, prototype face. Was there a pun intended there?
Yes, it was the prototype.
Yes, there we go.
But MJF is that prototype heel. If you want to build a good heel, give him a mouth. Make him seem lazy. Hardly let him wrestle. When he does wrestle, let him win by false means. It's wrestling 101. Where did we forget the tropes? That's the whole thing about wrestling, is paying homage to the past. And that's what MJF does. He's a classic heel.
Yeah, and one of the things I really liked about this match was when Wardlow came out, because I even said to my buddy Adam, I was like, okay, this is it. He's finally going to do the turn. But I'll be damned, they got me. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Wardlow is eventually going to turn, and the crowd is going to go ballistic when it happens. But he swerved us. Like, he came out, and looked like, he was going to finally, say, I've had enough of MJF. But he slipped him that ring. He helped his man win.
He is super over. Even when he's having to do heel crap, he's super over. The fans love Wardlow. The moment he turns, you have yourself an instant top babyface that looks like a monster.
Yeah. He's gonna once that turn happens, he's gonna take that spot that I think we would both be in agreement that probably should have been reserved for Brian Cage, but for one reason or another, just Brian Cage just didn't seem to work out. But that's for another topic. But just, and I think I know what your answer is going to be, and I'm going to give my take on this. But was giving MJF the W in Chicago, in Punk's hometown, handing Punk his first loss, was it the right move?
Definitely the right move. MJF went in there with Yankee colors to the house of Chicago, the house that Punk built, and beat CM Punk. Was it clean? No, but it didn't have to be. He just needed to win.
Yep.
And honestly, for Punk to give MJF that rub, who better?
Yeah, I couldn't have put that any better. It was absolutely the right move, and stuff. And I just, congratulations. I mean, I think if it already isn't obvious, I think this just made it that more obvious. MJF is a star. And remember back when we did our last episode of 2021, and we all came up with the bold prediction for this year?
I've slept since then. What was said?
You remember what I said?
What'd you say? I
said that MJF is going to be the AEW world, because you stole my original one about Okada coming over to AEW. But
that looks so bad now.
I said MJF will be at some point this year will be the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, and I feel more than ever that's going to happen.
I'd put money that yours happens before Okada happens.
But you know what, man? Let's hope that both of them happen, because it'd be pretty damn sweet.
Hell yeah.
So so once Punk versus MJF ended, my night at the AEW Dynamite was not over, because they also did Rampage, and I love Rampage. It's an hour show. It feels like it goes by so quickly every week. But the action's so good. The promos, everything. Speaking of promos, that promo that Adam Cole cut, where basically he's saying you're going to see a new Adam Cole, and then he came out and basically, just took it to Evil Uno and threw out down the gauntlet after the Texas Death Match, which is going to probably most likely be the main event for this week's Dynamite. Adam Cole's next in line, so we're gonna either. I think we're probably gonna see Hangman. I'm gonna say I think Hangman retains over Lance Archer. It's gonna be brutal, and I fully expect Hangman to bleed.
Oh yeah,
but I think he's gonna earn it and stuff. But I'm actually really intrigued by Hangman versus Adam Cole possibly main eventing Revolution.
I like the way they're going with it, because there's been cries on the internet that Adam Cole has been misused. They're making him too gimmicky. He's too funny. Why are we making him budge? Which, budge is awesome. Mm-hmm. But I can kind of see it, since Adam Cole was the man in NXT, and you bring him here, and he's here with Red Dragon. He's here with the Bucks. He kind of doesn't feel like the man. He kind of just feels like a part of the puzzle. Mm-hmm. And to kind of have him get angry and say, I'm going to go back to who I am, back to what I've done. I'm going to bust heads and, kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum. It's a welcome sight. I love
that movie.
Me too. If you guys haven't seen it, go watch it. If you don't know what it is, you don't deserve to know.
And this message goes out to our boy over at Such Good Shoot, Shane Green. Shane,
come on, Shane.
You need to watch it, man. Come on.
Tired of telling you. I'm gonna go to your house and forcibly want you to watch this movie.
You're gonna forcibly to watch it?
Yes, I'm gonna forcibly watch him watching it.
How do you forcibly watch someone?
Like this.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this on audio, Javon basically just kind of took his fingers and kind of stretched out his eyeballs and
opened up the eyelids.
He opened it, yeah. So, but yeah, go ahead.
It's great. It's a good way to go, and I like your idea of this going into Revolution with Hangman and Adam Cole. But a part of me doesn't want to see Adam Cole as champ because I want the big Red Dragon versus the Elite. So give me a screwy finish there, possibly a Kenny Omega return to make Adam Cole lose because he feels like it's his right for the belt against Hangman because he never got a rematch. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
But one other thing that I want to touch on, we had a really good TNT title match with Sammy Guevara and Isaiah Cassidy. And Isaiah Cassidy had a great showing in that match, and it earned him a spot in the first Face of the Revolution ladder match, qualifying match. And his opponent is someone we're going to be discussing here shortly. But I mean, yeah. And then you had just all around, but just, I got to talk about that main event from Rampage with Absolute Ricky Starks defending the FTW championship against Jay Lethal. Man, I was excited when this feud was played out on TV, but man, while it wasn't Punk versus MJF, if you have not seen this match, or hell, even if you've seen this match, you got to go back and watch it. I saw it live, and then I watched it on TV because I wanted to see how it came across on TV. And man, what a banger! What a banger main event for Rampage. And I mean, just that finish where Lethal went for the lethal injection and Starks caught him with the Rochambeau just like right in the middle of the air and just got him 1, 2, 3. I was blown away. I just, to me, and see, this is the thing that I love about AEW. What they do so well that the WWE cannot seem to do is that they're building new stars. Like we're seeing guys like Ricky Starks, like, just killing it. We saw MJF with getting the win over Punk. We see the Jurassic Express beating the Lucha Brothers for the tag titles. I mean, Jungle Boy is a star in the making. I mean, they're doing such a great job making new stars and everything. And one thing I just thought of here that I kind of want to circle back to, because we talk about making new stars. What about the possibility of Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley teaming up and forming a faction with some of these guys like Daniel Garcia, Wheeler Yuta, and stuff? I mean, just what about that?
What's that pure shooter faction that they used to have? It looks like it's going to be another iteration of that, just another stable of shooters, but I don't want it. I don't want it at all.
Really?
I'm against it. I'm totally against it. Jon Moxley to me is not at the technical ability of a Bryan Danielson as a Daniel Garcia. And that's not a mock on Moxley. It's not to take him down. That's right. See, I'm full of him today. It's not a knock on Moxley.
He's not full of anything right now because he's busy.
He's taking it all out.
Yep.
But you don't think of Jon Moxley and think super technical wrestler. He's a bruiser. He's a brawler. And I get the shoot fighting for him is more of just that strong style, which is cool. I could see it kind of being an enforcer in a style of shooters who are just super technical. But I want Moxley to be on his own. To be honest, I think some of his time has been wasted in tag teams that are going nowhere. Even though him and Eddie Kingston are best friends, I don't need to see them tag together. I'd rather have Moxley on his own, burning the world to try to get back to the title. Even giving a current champion a good run. A Moxley and Page match will put Adam Page over even more to build credibility to that title, since that's a former champion who never really got a match for the belt again after he lost it. Moxley, Sammy.
It just didn't have quite the kaboom.
Yeah, it didn't have the kaboom. It kind of fluttered.
Yeah. But
I mean, Moxley and Sammy, what would that do for Sammy Guevara to get a win against Moxley, a former world champion?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like Moxley being that measuring stick, instead of being forced into a faction of shooters. So I'm not quite on team shooter, but everything else you said with building talent in AEW, I'm 110% behind it.
Well,
Ricky Starks, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, let me ask you this. Let's say Moxley feuds with Danielson, but Danielson still forms this group.
Oh, I would like that. The group goes after Moxley. Then you get him one-on-one with Garcia, him with Danielson. We've seen him destroy Yuta, so I can go without that. But him and Moriarty, that would be a good matchup.
Yeah, I think that was the other name that was mentioned as well, too. But, I mean, I could definitely, like, I'm with you on that. Like, I'm intrigued if Moxley were to go along with this. But I think, yeah, much like you said, he's better off on his own. But I would like to see him maybe kind of say thanks, but no thanks. But then Danielson forms this group anyways, and he goes after him. Because, I mean, like I said, we saw Moxley versus Wheeler Yuta, and Yuta had a great showing. I mean, he's clearly someone that, just I think needs the right people around him, because I think as much as I love, best friends, I don't feel like being around best friends is really doing Wheeler Yuta any favors. And maybe if he were to break away and get with Bryan Danielson, and join up with the likes of, Daniel Garcia, Lee Moriarty and stuff, I mean, that could do wonders for him.
Look at that feud right there. The best friends versus this group of shooters by Bryan Danielson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have Tucker and Trent, who can both really go.
Don't you mean Chuck?
What'd I say?
Tucker,
Jesus Christ. You have Chuck and Trent, who can really go, and you put them against these shooter types. That'll be a great matchup. The only issue you have there is Orange Cassidy, doing his style of thing, but then, him and Danhausen, who knows what they'll be doing now. But don't kill me, guys. I'm not that high on Orange Cassidy anymore. I feel like as a novelty act, he kind of should have stayed there. He did get some good rubs. But when we're talking about booking an actual good matches with shooters, I don't want to see Orange Cassidy in a shooting team match.
Yeah. Speaking of which, because you brought up Danhausen, man, I gotta admit, I think the thing that shocked me most about that match were the dueling Moxley Danhausen chants.
Dude, I don't know. I do get it. I've met Danhausen. He is an amazing character. Hopefully once his foot fully heals, we can see him get in ring and perform better than he has lately, because some of his indie work is really good, but I don't know if he was playing into character by not putting on that kind of shows when he was in ROH. But if we get a good Danhausen, I'm all for it.
Nice. So we talked a little before I first shadowed this here just a few minutes ago when we talked about Isaiah Cassidy's showing in the match with Sammy Guevara, earning him a spot in the first qualifying match for the Face of the Revolution ladder match. His opponent is someone who is not currently part of the company, but will be making his debut and entering this company via the Forbidden Door, Forbidden Portal, whatever you want to call it and stuff. And let's kind of speculate on who that is. What are you thinking, Hot One?
I have two names that pop up in my mind that would really make me happy. And I'm not going to go with the one who just got married, because that's too easy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take an even more educated guess, because I heard somebody said that they've made gear for this man, and this gear will be able to be seen on Wednesdays coming very, very soon. So knowing that he has fresh gear, knowing that he's no longer under non-compete, and kind of feeling like he has to be it because you want this man to make a big splash, I think the time is ticking.
Ooh.
Tick tock. Give me Killer Cross. That's right.
And so I think, and I'll just come right out and say it. First off, you alluded to this with your person who just got married. I think the name that's kind of the one that everybody's speculating is going to be is one Keith Lee. And congratulations to him and Mia Yim on just recently getting married.
Congrats.
That's awesome. I'm
beautiful wedding photos, dude.
Yeah, beautiful wedding. I mean, it would have, I'm sure our invitations got lost in the mail.
Yeah, we'll be at the next one.
Yeah, you don't forget to bring your punch card. Fifth one's free.
Fifth one's free. Yeah.
But I've been thinking about it, and I almost think that all the signs are pointing to Keith Lee, or it's kind of what they want us to believe. But I'm gonna kind of double down with you.
All right.
I would love for it to be Killer Cross. I mean, because with this, new faction with, the House of Black, I mean, first off, freaking being able to see that entrance with Malachi Black and Brody King. Oh my God, that is such an awesome entrance.
I cannot wait.
Yeah, it was one of the things that I was most looking forward to, and that did not disappoint. But let's talk a little bit about Killer Cross, what the possibilities are for him in AEW, because I think we're both. I'm gonna make my official prediction that I think it's gonna be Killer Cross as well too.
All right.
But I mean, and it wouldn't surprise me to see Keith Lee, and I mean, hell, we may get them both. I mean, fuck, what do we get on it All Out? The whole thing was Bryan Danielson was going to debut, but that night alone we got Minoru Suzuki, we had Ruby Soho, we had Bryan Danielson, and the big one that nobody expected was Adam Cole. I mean, we got 4 debuts on this show. So just because we have, one person confirmed to be debuting in this Face of the Revolution qualifying match, who's to say we could get more? We could get both Keith Lee and Killer Cross.
It's very possible.
But let's talk about Killer Cross here. I mean, do you think he would be a great fit for the House of Black?
I think, however, he wants to format his new character could work in real well with the House of Black.
Mm-hmm.
But what we've seen in some of the vignettes that he's kind of done, or some of the stuff he's done since being released, kind of feels like he wants to go after this hitman kind of persona, which with Scarlett, he can make it work. He can make anything work.
Man, I think I just imagine finally seeing Scarlett coming across my screen every Wednesday night. My wife's upstairs, so I can get away with saying this. Although if she were right here, she'd probably be rolling her eyes at me or whatever. But
you seeing something flying through the video cam out of nowhere.
Yeah, like an RKO.
An RKO from out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But no, I think Killer Cross has one of the rarest abilities, because he's going to show everybody how bad WWE messed up. Because we've seen a lot of guys from WWE come over and instantly be great and continue to be great. But here's somebody who they didn't even give a chance to get out the gate in Raw. They for some reason buried him at Raw. This guy should have been a multi-champion.
They wanted to make they turned Karrion Kross from the guy who had the coolest entrance across all 3 brands of WWE, basically into someone who looked like he could have been a stunt double for Gerard Butler in 300.
Yeah. They turned him into a gladiator.
They did.
And then even
not
worse,
even an American gladiator.
and then when he makes it to Raw, they turned him into a demolition cosplayer.
Right. Yeah. The demolition reject or whatever. But no, I go on with your thoughts on Cross.
I think he comes out solo, him and Scarlett, and we get a badass entrance from them. He comes out, remember kind of how Cesaro used to have his suit and he used to tear it off?
Yeah.
I'd love to see Cross have something like that. And I think he could kill this persona, man. I'm really, really interested to see what he does next.
And one of the things too that we're both where I think we're both pretty much made it known just now that we're big fans of Killer Cross and Scarlett. And to me, and one thing that I've always said is, because I've had, and Jovan could probably say this as well too. When you get a chance to meet these wrestlers and sit there and talk to them, outside the gimmicks or whatever, and they're just being people, a lot of times they are, really cool, really down to earth. You realize that every time I do a meet and greet, I realize these guys are just like, you and I. I mean, obviously when we went to Warrior Wrestling together, we got to see that a lot with Matt Taven, who I'm sure Joey Case probably got some sort of ode to Matt Taven that he's probably going to be spritzing in his bathroom once he's done taking his shit. Joey, we kid, man, but we kid because we love you, man.
We love you so much.
Yeah, but we talk about how just how nice these wrestlers are. I had the privilege to meet Killer Cross back in 2019, the All Out weekend, and him and Scarlett, and they were just as cool as could be. I mean, very accommodating, very down to earth. Willing to take the time to talk to you, and stuff, and just. When you have encounters like that with these people that we watch every week on TV, and you walk away with such a great feeling or a big smile on your face, it makes it so much easier to support these men and women. And those two are, just I wish them nothing but all the success in the world. And I'm going to be very happy if I see those two show up Wednesday night.
Dude, I remember that setup from All Out. I think they were next to Demon Bunny.
Yeah.
And I was so freaking intimidated by Killer Cross that I did not go over there for shit. I was like, he's going to catch me looking at Scarlett, and I am dead. I am dead. So I didn't even go close. Like, I went to go see Allie and Rosemary. I saw, I believe even freaking Joey Ryan was right to the left of them, like at the corner.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, Joey Ryan, I think, was next to where Demon Buddy was set up.
Yeah, so that's good memory coming up here. But I did not want to go anywhere near Killer Cross and Scarlett Bordeaux because I'm like, he's gonna see me and I'm gonna get killed. I'm gonna be like a stain on this man's boot. He's an intimidating figure, man. You see how big that fool is. He's big man.
But I mean, and I always think about it like these guys that are just these big hulking figures, larger than life superheroes and stuff, and you get intimidated, but you sit there and you approach them in a respectful manner, say, hey, how you doing? I'm a big fan and stuff. And then when they just open up and you just sit there and it's just like, it's gone. And I mean, it just, again, I wish it's so easy to support them because they're such good people.
Hell yeah.
And that, so we're both in agreement. We think it's going to be, I think we think, and we hope it's going to be Killer Cross, but if if it's Keith Lee, cool. If
Justice for Keith Lee.
Yeah. I think sooner or later we will see him show up as well too. But I mean, it's just, that's the beauty of what AEW is doing right now. I mean, they're Tony Khan is kind of, giving the newer fans who weren't around for the Attitude Era for the 80s, just kind of a glimpse of what it was like to be a fan back then. And I think that's one of the reasons why AEW is, in my opinion, my favorite wrestling promotion, because I would assume that it's yours or it's in the clubhouse and stuff. Because I mean, they're doing the things that, made us both fall in love with wrestling.
Yeah. I remember Mondays and Thursdays being the night that you wanted to get done with school. You wanted to rush home so you can watch Raw, so you can watch SmackDown because something was happening. Austin and Rock, something was going to go down with Austin and McMahon. And now for me, or DX was going to do something out there. And now it's AEW, Wednesdays, which is awesome because it gets me through my week. On Monday, I'm like, I just got to make it to Dynamite. And on Dynamite, I just got to make it to Rampage. But honestly, I get that feeling again on a Wednesday morning. Like, oh, man, whenever I'm done with this day, I've got Dynamite. It's going to be a good day. I'm feeling pumped. And I haven't felt that in a very long time from wrestling because, the product that we've had lately prior to AEW wasn't that great.
Right. And I mean, like I said, it'll be interesting to see who walks through that forbidden door, and I mean, we'll have plenty to talk about on next week's episode of Shooting Shit. Before we go though, we always like to talk about something this new segment that I think we're officially going to start calling Do Better. And there were a couple things I had in my mind. One of which is something kind of catering back to wrestling fans, but this is a little bit more the the fans that are at a live show, and this isn't going to be kind of what I'm going to talk about, as but something I do want to bring up. I get that, everybody in that arena is excited to be part of that show, and they want to get up and be as close as they can. But seriously, I saw so many people from where I was sitting basically spend as much time trying to get up close to the railing, even more so than they were probably sitting in their seats. And I mean, I get it. You're a fan. You want to try to get a high five or something like that. But I mean, seats are paid for and everything and stuff. And it gets annoying after a while, like seeing seriously, people trying to get up and, as they see a spot open's like, oh, I'm going to sit here just because it's open, even though I didn't pay for it and stuff. I mean, you paid for a seat. Like you said, and this is probably going to be me being the grouchy old man, get off my lawn, whatever you want to say. What I don't even care. This is our show. We're going to talk about what we want.
Damn right.
This stuff. But I mean, come on, guys. We get it. We want to enjoy the show just as much as you. But I mean, if I have to see the same person basically running up and down the aisles just trying to get up just every single match or whatever, seriously, just do better. But okay, so this is the actual do better here, and I want you to offer your take. I told you this is going to be a really good one.
Hold on. Before we get to the real one, let me also do this.
Okay.
Some of you guys that I see in the crowds when I'm at live events, because I'm at a lot of live events, number one. But then when I see you on TV and you're still in the crowds, what the fuck do you guys do for work? How are you in every goddamn city that Dynamite is in? It makes no sense to me. Do you travel with the show? Are you sleeping with somebody on the set? Which I really don't hope so, because the one I keep seeing is a bigger lady. And don't get me wrong, all love to the big ladies, but she's not necessarily a nice big lady, because I've met her once and I'm just kind of like, kind of a beep. But, what are you guys doing that you're traveling with the shows? I'll go to anything within a reasonable driving distance, but fuck,
12,
when I see you
hour
guys,
drives.
Yeah, I'll do that. But I mean, when I see these guys that are every single one is Dynamite in Jacksonville, Dynamite in Boston, Dynamite in Chicago, I'm like, God damn, do y'all got freaking flyer miles? But anyway, DDJ, get to your serious one. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. So this is something that has been a pet peeve of mine for years. And it's not just something that I see at wrestling shows, because honestly, this is something that's less of an issue when I go to a wrestling event than it is when I go, say, to the grocery store or, to the mall or whatever. Have the words "excuse me" been deleted from the dictionary? I'm dead serious. I get it. You know what? I think I broke Javon, but I think he knows where I'm going with this. And that's I can't wait for him to get his take on this. But this is kind of what really and it almost set me off. So it was a few days ago. I want to say, I think it had to have been this past Friday, which would have been February 4th. I had just finished my physical therapy session for my knee, and had a couple other errands I wanted to do, and I was kind of out by by an area that I know has this place where I usually like to go to see what they have, movies wise and stuff, just to see if I can find something. So, I get to this place. It's called Disc Replay. I don't know if you have them down by you there in the Dallas area, but it's basically a place that sells, used movies, CD music, video games, that kind of stuff. I'm sure you got a place similar to that there. Just it's probably known as something else.
Ours is CD warehouse.
Okay. But I'm sitting there, I'm in one of the aisles. I'm not not middle of the aisle. I'm kind of up by, where the Blu-rays are and stuff. And this guy who probably looked like he was in his, I would say his 50s or maybe early 60s, I was looking at something, and he literally bumped into me, kept on walking. Thankfully, he bumped me on my right side, which is, that's where the side where my bad knee is. He bumped me on my shoulder or something, just kept on walking. If he would have bumped me on my knee, I would have probably said something. But I'm sitting there, not even an excuse me, or not even and I'm sorry. Like, seriously, people. Anytime I go to Walmart, I've had people like where I'm looking at something, I've had people will sit there and stand for about 15, 20 seconds waiting for me to move. Like if I'm looking at something, rather than taking 2 seconds out of their precious time saying and just saying, excuse me. If someone comes up to me, if I've got my cart or if I'm doing something and someone needs to get by and I'm blocking their path, just say, excuse me. And I'll sit there and I'm going to be like, oh, my apologies. And then I move out of the way. I don't know what happened or what caused society as a whole to forget what, the phrase, excuse me, and what it's for. But I don't get it. I don't understand why it's so hard for someone to just say, excuse me, if they need to get by. I do it. It's not hard. That's how I was raised by my parents. That's how my wife and I are raising our son. If you need to get by or if you need to get somebody's attention, you sit there and you say, excuse me. You be respectful and stuff. And it's just, I don't know what it is, but it just, to me, the words excuse me have become a lost art in society. And this isn't actually directed at wrestling fans, because most of the time at wrestling shows, wrestling fans are pretty cool and, are like, excuse me, or, if you say excuse me, like, oh, my bad, whatever. I hear excuse me more at a wrestling show than I do at a trip to Walmart.
Excuse me.
And I'm not even talking to Vicky Guerrero, excuse me. I'm talking just a nice, polite excuse me. But this isn't actually directed towards the IWC. Shocker. This is just directed to a society as a whole. Society, please, we as men and women who are, are all spread throughout this planet. We got it. Guys, I'm just going to leave it at this. Do better. Say excuse.
Do better.
You got anything you want to add to that?
Ladies and gentlemen who have seen the videos, Giovanni Tuhati is a bigger guy. So if I'm trying to get through places, yeah, I might have to bump one or two people, and I'm saying, excuse me. Hey, excuse me, you're about to get hit with the shoulder, the belly, the back of the ass. Who knows? But excuse me, I'm about to bump into you. I'm sorry, it's going to happen. If I'm going through the mall, if I'm going through the stores and, you're stuck looking at what dish detergent that you want to buy, even though, it's the same thing you always buy, and you're looking at the $2 one cheaper because maybe the paycheck came out a little short this week. So you're looking, do I really want the $2 one that's cheaper, or do I want the same one? You're making up your decisions. I get it. Hey, excuse me, let me pass by you because I need to get to the toy section. Because if I don't get to the toy section, the Unrivaled and the Unmatched series are going to be gone. And the only thing I'm going to end up with are these fucking belts that they can't sell. So, yes, no, I 110% get the excuse me. I was raised in a time where they beat kids, right? I probably have a very good case for child abuse, but I mean now it's.
Oh my God, I will. I'm saying, and I know where you're going with that, and I will. I love that. That is like one of my favorite memories of this show. That story.
But with all of that, like, you guys literally, it was drilled into us as children. Excuse me. You see grown people talking. Hey, excuse me. You've got to get somewhere. Hey, excuse me. It takes 2 seconds. Let somebody else know, hey, I'm right here. And I think maybe it's either you guys weren't raised with the excuse me, or maybe you were and you're deciding to be rebellious. I'm not with my parents anymore, so fuck them. I'm not going to say excuse me. Or maybe it's the sadder cause that everybody's so far into their devices and their phones, and they're looking down at an angle and they don't see people. So they don't think that they have the need to say, excuse me, when you hit somebody with your cart, or excuse me when you bump into them when they're in the line, or excuse me when they're all grabbing for merchandise at the merch table and you feel like somebody's grabbing your ass on purpose. Just excuse me. That's all you got to say, guys. Excuse me.
Do better.
Do better.
Oh, I think that's a good. I think this is where we've reached a point where it's probably a good place to call it a night.
You know what? One more.
Uh-oh. What do we got?
When Joey K busts ass on air because he's farting because it's trying to come out, excuse me.
And hopefully by this time Joey K is done, or I hope he brought at least a good book or something to keep him entertained.
He's got his cell phone and he's listening to Shooting Shit while he shoots the shit.
And on that note, thank you for listening to this episode of Shooting Shit. We'll see you next week. Do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Follow the show on Twitter at SHOOTINSHT, and thanks for listening.